Welcome to Doctor Who Follow-Up Friday. In this episode we're talking killer robots. Welcome back one and all to this week's episode of Follow-Up Friday. And before I get started, yes, I do know that Cybermen are not robots. And the same is true of Daleks, of course. But that photograph taken from my stag night when my best man planned a trip to the Doctor Who exhibition. Doctor Who Experience, in Cardiff while it was still going. Which is what you get when you choose a best man who actually knows you. Anyway, so this week's episode is my 5 personal favourite robots, killer robots, from Doctor Who. They are not perhaps the most iconic or even the most memorable in some cases, but they are my personal favourites, and they cover the whole history of Who. If you have your own favourites which aren't on the list, feel free to comment down below with who your favourite 5 robots from Who might be. But these are mine. And we're starting off at number 5 on the list with the K1 robot, the giant robot from the episode Robot. Doesn't make it higher on the list here because at the end of the day, although it does a bit of killing, a bit of stomping around and zapping things with its ray beam thing, at the end of the day, it is intended to be played. The robot, if you've not seen it, essentially is the story of King Kong, but with a giant robot instead of a giant ape. And at the end of the day, it sacrifices itself because of Sarah Jane, essentially. So it's a brilliant robot. It's a fantastic design. One of the coolest looking robots, even though it is a bit awkward around the leg area. Don't worry about watching it walk too much, but from the YouTube area upwards, it looks fantastic. Number 4 on my list. 4 on my list. Put that in. What the heck? Number 4 on my list are the Clockwork robots from The Girl in the Fireplace. These again, I'm putting on the list essentially because of the design. The design of them, they look great. They look so period, and the actors doing the motion for them are really on point, and lots of kind of sharp implements for cutting things and harvesting organs to repair their ship. Really, really cool looking robots. So they make the number 4 spot. Coming in at number 3 are the Yeti, first seen in the Patrick Trout episode, The Abominable Snowman. The design of these are just brilliant. Big balls of fur, essentially, with claws. What more could you want from a killer robot? They make a reappearance again, of course, in the Web of Fear. Although I have to say, the look of them in Web of Fear isn't quite as convincing somehow. Certainly in the museum bit at the start. Once you get them stomping around the London Underground, they get some of their creep factor back and are much more entertaining again. Also making an appearance, of course, in The Five Doctors. Well, in sort of arm form anyway. Coming in at number 2 on the list, hard to have an episode about killer robots without mentioning the robots of death. And the Vox and Super Vox from that episode, again, classic design, classic look to them, with just a bit of colour separation overlay to make their eyes go a bit weird when they start killing. Say what you like about Doctor Who and wobbly sets, and I don't think it's necessarily as earned as perhaps pop culture would have it. But sometimes when the design is right, classic Who can still look amazing. And the design of the Vox, it's a bit static, but that adds to the creepiness of them. The Vox look great. And then their space at number 2. So we've had a robot called Robot, and we've had robots of death. Who could possibly beat those two out to make the number 1 spot in a list of killer robots in Doctor Who? I'll be honest, when I was looking through the Wikipedia to remind myself of what my options were, this one wasn't even on my radar. But as soon as I saw it on the wiki, I knew not only did it have to be on my list, I also knew there was only one spot it could take, and that was the top spot. Because it is without doubt the deadliest robot we've seen in Doctor Who. It's able to take out an entire squad of Cybermen with relative ease. It is fast moving, it has deadly weaponry, it's trained in martial arts for heaven's sakes, and it looks like a bloke in a silver bodysuit doing gymnastics. Because it is the Raston Warrior robot from the episode The Five Doctors. Now, unlike all the others, I'm going to get some hate for this one, but unlike the others on this list, I'm not really talking about the design here. The design of this one is, as I say, it's a gymnast in a bodysuit with some sort of mask on. And it has a very awkward way of throwing its spears like that. But I love it. I love the Raston Warrior robot. I love the Five Doctors. I know as episodes go, it is not the smartest. It is not the most... it's not the most message-driven, anything like that. But it is all sorts of fun. I watched it to death on our video. I recorded off-air the audio onto audio tape, and I used to listen to it all the time. There was a time when I could quote pretty much the entire special, word for word. I can't anymore. But I love the Five Doctors. It is in my DNA for my love of the show. And ridiculous though the Raston Warrior robot is, despite it being really on screen for like a minute, there is no question in my heart it is the number 1 killer robot in the whole history of Who. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed that, please do give me a like. It means a lot. I really enjoy seeing those like buttons click up. And if you haven't subscribed already, do a chap a solid and click the subscribe button. I don't know, if you like. If you want to find out more about my writing, there's a box over here. If you want to find out more about me and Doctor Who, there's a box over there. I'll be back next week with a review of the next episode of Doctor Who and a follow-up Friday about something from that episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.